All right. Well, uh, any questions today on the topic? Anyone have any interest in putting something out there? How about selfing? What the hell is selfing? Yeah? Yeah. I can just move your head and I'll see you're agreeing. Yes? Yes. All right. This was one of the first things that happened with me. Uh, you see a lot about time, the action of time here. And there's the one of the statements that we build the talks on is from Ramana's teachings, and that is the basic mental conception. The first one in time is the non-existent thing is an existent thing. So consciousness arises, and then it becomes conscious of the thing, and it makes a mistake. It says the thing is an existent thing when it's a non-existent thing. Yes. And so now the mental state is fueled, and he uses the word presupposing, which is really cool because pre obviously would be of time, yeah? Something pre this, that would mean there was a moment in time and there was another moment in time that was before this moment of time, yeah? So presupposing. So the presupposing, so what's supposed is of time, yeah? And so what's supposed is that the non-existent thing, which is the starting point, yeah, is an existent thing. It took time for the head to get there, yeah, and then the head presupposes that idea before everything, yeah. So it replaces the non-existent thing as the beginning with the existent thing, yeah, and then we start there. We're not at the moment of time. We're in time in a moment, yeah? The manufacturing of us. Yeah. So I started seeing this. It was trippy because I was first introduced to a lot of stuff through recovery. And in recovery, they use the term of self, the small s self, as the cause of the defeat. Yeah. And at this point, it's clear that the alcohol and the drugs or the food or the sex were the symptoms of it, not the cause. Yeah. So there was something underlying the drinking that was setting off that urge to drink. And they call it self, this little SELF. And it has a very important statement because when you come out of the condition of addiction, you're really out to lunch completely. Yeah, because a lot of stuff has been going on without knowing it. Yeah. You may know what was going on out here, but a lot of stuff was going on without knowing it. And so you get sober, that the chaos of the everyday activity is chilled after a while. You've been sober maybe a month now, 2 months, and something starts happening. You start becoming aware of stuff you weren't aware of at all. And one of the first ones I remember, I was in this big meeting, and in the beginning of people, yeah, and there was a big one in San Francisco on Tuesday nights at Grace Cathedral, really big meeting. And of course, being new, I sat in the back. Yeah, sat in the back. And when I was sitting there, I felt this like cocoon that I was in, that I had this cocoon, you could see through it. Yeah. So you didn't notice the cocoon, but I noticed it, and I was feeling like, man, I, it could be described as like terminal uniqueness. So I was in a terminal unique state, all manufactured. I was just under its influence. I wasn't the one doing it. Yeah. So under this influence of, and it felt like a cocoon, literally. And it's sort of like if you were living in a cocoon and you could see through it, and then suddenly you saw it, you didn't see what you saw through the glass, you saw the glass. That would be cool in a way because you're getting down to something. So that hit me. And then I was going to meetings where other people who had been taken over by this same drive would share their feelings, their thoughts, and their reactions to life. And I could only come to two conclusions after a little while. How did these people get my thoughts? Yeah, really. and it broke this terminal uniqueness. I saw that the feet I was under was shared. Yes, this wasn't a unique, special, uh, condemnation from God to smote Paul Hedderman. It was just some thing took a lot of people over, use them for transportation, and you could start seeing the criminal at the debris of the crime. Yeah, you could see like how many people who think they're very uniquely different, they end up in the same three parking spaces of institution, jails, and death. Yeah, so things start becoming suspicious, and uh, and what happens when that starts? That crack. Uh, the head may try to plaster over it, but the crack is very revealing. And then the cracks will continue to crack. Yeah. And if you ever notice one crack, it has a small thing, but then it becomes a bigger crack. Yeah. They're all the nature of a crack, but they become a bigger crack, and almost like a river gets bought in the thing. So there I was, started realizing, wow, how did these people get my thoughts? And maybe they're not my thoughts. Yeah. Maybe these aren't my special doings that I just randomly and uniquely did. No, you take me, soak it in alcoholism and addiction, and this is what I'm going to do, how I'm going to see things, and all of it is going to be contained in a special uniqueness, which is really uh, usually in AA. The last person to know they're an addict is the addict. It's amazing. Yeah, it is. And not only that, they'll deny it as many times as it is exposed. It won't, and it's not them. The system is not gonna give up the goods. Self can't get out of self. So there's a system that has somehow sucked up most of the interest and attention, and let's say our bandwidth has been shrunk very myopically. Yeah, so we could be picking up a lot of other stuff, but we're really locked into like a propaganda station called Paul. Yeah, but it's all a franchise of unclear channel. So you're hearing the same thing, but you call it a different station. Yeah, but it isn't. It's the same. So so that started. Then when I saw the thoughts as not mine, yeah, the thoughts again, they were orbiting around me, and I couldn't. It was like an asteroid belt, but I couldn't see the asteroid. Yeah, so I had thoughts in this orbit of all about me, my thoughts, and it was suffocating you. Yeah, no one would be able to see it. You didn't see any hands on the thing, or someone put your head in a plastic bag, but it was like you put your head was in a plastic bag, if you want to use a body example. Yeah, kept seeing, you still could see through it, but it was cutting you off from a lot of stuff, seemingly. And so thoughts, and then I suddenly I saw a giant swath of them as alcoholic thoughts. Wow. And that belt moved out. And when it's in such close proximity, you don't see it. When it moves out, you see it. You start seeing the asteroid. If you have such a magnification, you can't see it. When the magnification is broken down, you lose interest in it because it's not yours. They're alcoholic thoughts. You see them. Wow. And so a large swath of what was playing mostly during the day, I noticed I could categorize it as no me, but there was a categorization that's alcoholic thoughts. And there was a withdrawing of interest and attention from it. And where's that interest and attention going to go? That's what you find out. That's the real joy of it. You don't know what it's going to bring back or how you're going to see things, but you're going to observe how you see things and what it brings back. Yeah, but you don't know it. Just like this rack I'm doing for the car. I had no idea of doing a rack. I didn't think about a rack. I just saw it. Oh, saw the rack. Yeah. Then suddenly I was doing one way, and then mid stream, no, I can't do it that way. Turn it around. And it was so obvious. I'm on a need to know basis. And you're just hanging around waiting and something informs you what to do. It moves you, really. So first I got the alcoholic thoughts, got some relief. Of course, it led to another recognition, which is uh, they're not mine, which was awesome. They're literally not my thoughts. Like all the ownership I get from that mistake and all the consequences I put up with because they're mine, a new door opened up. Hey, these are not my thoughts. And then it spread because truth can be like, if you put truth on a failed system, it's like molasses. It seeps into all the failure of the system and you get to notice it. Yeah. So my thoughts, wow. Then I was 10. What happened? The biggest thought is the idea of being a thinker. Wow. It's a thought that disguises itself by saying it's having all the other thoughts, but there's no thing that rises above the thoughts into the role of thinker. It's just a thought. And it's always presupposed to be the beginning. So you would think the beginning would be thinker, and then everything that comes after that is thoughts. Yes. But the beginning is made up. It's a thought. There's only thoughts. There's no there is no point where thoughts have a demarcation and then there's a my thought and you have a stream that's only yours. It's not that way. We see things that way, but that doesn't mean it's that way. Just like we were at dinner last night and the person was talking about, and I'm not, this isn't personal. When I talk with people, I just see a principle mostly. So they were talking about the energetic body. Well, the only way you would talk about energy as an energetic body is from a body point of view, obviously. Yes. So we give things that are not of body a title of being a body, the energetic body. So is it 6 feet 2, going a little too thin? There's no body of energy. It's just energy. And in that energy, bodies appear by the way we look at things. Yeah. So first, I'm just trying to go off on it because all the steps don't mean anything, but there were steps seemingly in time. Yeah. So you you don't go into the light, you come out of the dark. So you come out of the dark, you retreat from the dark, and you find yourself as the source of light. You don't believe there's a source of light out there at the end. You don't. So you just come out of the dark about these misunderstandings, literally. Yes? Misunderstandings, old ideas, all this stuff. And it just, bum, 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 you come out of the darkness in a way, and there you are as the light. So in this case, it wasn't, it, there were big, it's like an iceberg, a big chunk fell off and then another big chunk fell off, and it returned back to its other uh, form of water. Yeah. So thoughts, my thoughts, and then wow, thinker is really the one to check out. It's like Dracula going on vampire hunts, hiding its nature of being the head vampire. Yeah. So if there's a thinker, there seems to be a beginning of thoughts. Obviously. Yeah. It would be like a bookmark. You put it in a random place and you think that's when the book starts, yeah? But it's not. It's a manufactured bookmark. There's no thinker, and then there are the thoughts of that thinker. It doesn't go that way, I don't feel. So that's going on. I'm sitting there, and then selfing, because I was introduced to recovery at 28, and they use this term self. And then when you go to spirituality, Ramana uses a big S self, meaning everything, allness, yes? And if you look at anything and you take it back to the source, it goes back to the self, the big S self. Yep. The small S self similar tries to play that same role, that you bring everything back to the source, which is the small S self, but that's in a mental mimicking of what may be really happening, because the mental actually mimics things. Yeah, they're off. You know what I mean? They're off. Like when you see a very good movie, creepy horror movie, there's like a discomfort that's in there, and it gets you ready for something really crazy to occur because it seems creepy. The head is sort of like that. So getting back to the presupposing of the non-existent thing. No, I'm going to go with the selfing. So I think we give it too much credit calling it self. I do. I don't believe there's any noun that's doing anything. So, but if something could convince you that there is a noun doing anything, wow. And I think that's what the head attempts to do all day through the selfing. So the selfing is a spool that just keeps looping and playing, but its assumption is you already are a self. It's not like you're going to become one or you already are one. Yeah. And so you're left with, hey, if you feel discomfort, irritable, restless, discontent, the only reaction you're going to have from the system is to try to get out of it, which is the biggest in for the system. Yeah. The biggest in, if something wasn't there, the way you could get a sense of being there is you and I trying to get out of it. So it makes up a made up in, which is called self. And then a lot of us during our life and with this movement of time constantly having us to have to do something else or make a different sandwich or make a better coffee, yes, on and on. This idea is every ship is launched from this idea of self, that you are one already, and maybe you can become a better one or a bigger one or trans transcend it, whatever, or find the authentic one. You're going to be so bummed out if you ever find the authentic self. So there it is. So selfing is like a thing that plays over and over. It's almost like ambient music or something. You don't even know, like one little like complaint about one problem just moves into the another problem, and it's just playing all time. And the assumption is, oh, don't worry, you already are this, so just try to make it better or forget it. That's why you'll watch Die Hard 12, because you fucking can't handle just on and on. Makes you'll buy the same shit. I can give stuff to a thrift store and then forget and then rebuy it. Yeah, but I usually catch myself, but I have been known to do that. I say, this looks pretty good. The guy or the woman who had this had a good taste. Well, yeah, I dropped it off a couple of weeks before. So, so, but that one who dropped it off and the one who bought it is the same. See, this is the dilemma. Yeah. So the selfing is just going off under the assumption that you already are something. Yeah. Because if it had to build it, you'd see it, obviously. It's impossible. That cannot be a self. Yeah. But it can work the state that there already is one. Yeah. That's the trick in time. It can't make self, but it can imply there already is one. And that's what the head does, the selfing. And I would say that's the original addiction, or the original movement of addiction that causes the movements to get relief from itself. And those are the other addictions. Yeah. But the original, not original, but in time, let's say the beginning of this drive, like in Buddhism, they talk about, you ever heard of the Four Noble Truths? Yeah. And they talk about there's dukkha or malaise, dissatisfaction when you're already built as a self. There's going to be a dissatisfaction with the situation, yeah, and it permeates, but you mistake it and you get different answers that doesn't work, right? So he says, all right, that's the sort of the pot of the dis-ease or dissatisfaction is this idea of you. And then and it says, well, desire. Yes, desire is the root of the suffering. But if you shrunk down everything in a dualistic way, you will see the first desire is a desire to become and unbecome. Yeah. So the head wants to become an unbecome. So it already says it's something, and then it wants to become something else. Yeah. Or a better one, and this and that. So there's a desire to become and a desire to unbecome. So it believes it's something that it isn't. It wants to not be that. And it believes it's something that it is, and it doesn't want to be that. So there's this, and it's like a slinky, and the one desire pulls the next one. Yes. So this is like duality in a sense. So the duality is of this desire to become and unbecome is the engine of the unease. Yeah. And then they would present the nine, whatever, the four, the what to do with it all, like Buddha. He had a couple more steps. But the two things are the diagnosis. There's a you can't put a finger on it, but there's a malaise or a weird sense of uh whatever. Everyone, and then he says the cause of that is desire. So I would say the head that's in is its form, its nature is agitation because it's desiring to become and unbecome. Yeah. So it's agitated in and of itself. And then a lot of everything that happens here is a way of denying that or whatever. Yeah. So it says it would really like to find peace, but if it ever gets brought to peace, it starts worrying, will there be peace tomorrow? So its agitation will override whatever it thinks it arrives at. Yes? That's why it doesn't really want to arrive anywhere. That's why signing up for a spiritual a goal that could take lifetimes, it's totally into that. I mean, self will sign up to becoming something for years. To be something, no, there's no way. Being, no fucking way. But becoming, I'm all for it. Because in the becoming, it'll be more about you than about, yes, yes. That's why a spiritual path, what takes a path? Spirit doesn't, bodies do. Do you ever see a spirit going down Highway 101? No. I mean, you're going to reach the mountaintop. Who reaches a mountaintop? Who can't? Who's there somewhere else other than at the mountaintop? A body. Yeah, the spirit is all permeates everything. It's not reaching anywhere or going anywhere. It just is. So the whole idea that how we term spirituality is of a body, if you look at it. Yeah. So, all right. Now the next big thing was this. When I went to see Ramesh Balsekar in India, I read a book by him called Who Cares? And it motivated me. And his age, 85 years old, motivated me. I just decided I was going to go to India. I had other places to go, but I went to Bombay to check him out. And he would emphasize the personal doer. He thought that was the gateway, the gateless gate, just to see that you're not the personal doer of anything. Yes, or everything's just going as they go. All right. People in when coming out of addiction, they have a dilemma with this because when they come out of addiction, they don't come out of the belief that they did all that shit while under the influence. Yeah. That because there's no separation between what they are and the head sees everything as I was the doer of it, no matter what. So now you come into recovery and you have this burden that you've been really trying to avoid by getting loaded of the guilt and shame of all the shit you did. Yeah. And you've been convicted in your own court and you're just looking for, and you believe you should have a harsh sentence, really. You do. You've done things that are just unforgivable to you. This great relief came to me when I saw this idea of self on this page I was reading in this book, the book of the program called the Big Book. There's a page there in a chapter called How It Works, which is quite apt. Yeah, it's very important how it works. And there was a statement that says being convinced, which is a requirement that's in recovery, especially in the beginning. You got to be convinced of certain things, like you're not managerial quality and you're fucked basically. When you're convinced of that, you'll maybe open to do some things that are going to bring about new effects. Yeah. All right. So I'm at this page, being convinced, self. Wow, here's that word again, being convinced. So being convinced, one of the definitions is to believe with certainty. Yes. So being convinced self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. Wow, what an incredible statement. Yeah. Separates, it tells us what has defeated us. People think it was their wife or their origin, family of origin, or their upbringing, or the drugs itself, or the alcohol. But really, what has defeated us is this idea of self. Yeah. And its manifestations and how it manifested in various ways. And those ways were the defeat of us. And us is stated in the same sentence. So the defeater is self, us is the defeated. Yes? I saw, this was mind-boggling to me. For it was I was about 6 years into sobriety. I saw this, I had read the sentence tons of times, but this time I read the sentence, I saw self as foreign to me. This was unbelievable. This, not me, never was me, never will be me. I saw that the monkey on the back wasn't a family member. The monkey was in its own species, and I was not of that species. Yes. So the monkey could be taken off my back. It wasn't like a part of my back. Yes. So he saw self as not me. Wow. And I recognized there is no self, there's selfing. Yeah. And I recognized the shit I was driven to do when I was getting loaded disqualifies me as the driver. I was that which was driven. Yeah. I was not the driver. And then I got some freedom from my past. Yeah. And I remember the first demonstration I was getting it was early on because they presented addiction as a disease. Yeah. Which will ease, take some of the personalness out of it. And the personalness is what's killing people after they stop drinking. The sense of personalness really is. So uh, I heard that, I said, I hope it's right. And then I was hanging out with some friends. We had been riding motorcycles. My friend had a girlfriend he'd been with, and I was with a girl I was trying to impress. So we stopped riding. We went to my friend's apartment. We went upstairs, and we passed a neighbor of his that had an Asian woman that had all paint over her pants and everything. And we went into the room, and we're hanging out, having tea or something. And then my friend David had to go back to the downstairs to get something from the bike. Came in and said, my neighbor would like to talk to you. And I was a house painter. I had become a house painter when I got sober. So I thought she wanted to get me advice, to what she was doing. So she walks into the room. There I am with the person I'm trying to impress. And the lady looks at me and goes, "Hey, Paul, do you remember me?" I go, "No." She says, "You owe me $500." So my pants sort of fell down, and you would think I would have felt a lot of shit, but I didn't. And what came over the screen was, what I did to you, I would have done to anybody. And it was one of my first, uh, I was relieved of the bondage of being the doer. Yes, because I knew I had been driven to do what I did to her, and I would have done it to anyone else unless you could have physically stopped me if you were in the situation. It's just the way it was. Yeah. And wow, what a breakthrough in a sense, the crack. And then, so that opened a dam, and I saw in this big book that they use the word driven, your self-imposed calamities, which means you're not imposing it on you, but something foreign to you is imposing it on you. And I felt, wow, this is a revolutionary way of looking at it. I should start putting it out there. That didn't go as well as I thought, but it went very well for me in a sense, because I saw this sense of all of our interpretations is permeated with you as the doer, permeated. And one of the ways the system, if something is unbearable about being a doer, it will just deny it or fucking forget it or avoid it and conveniently, yeah. And it gets, and you and I, as this event, will truly adapt being in a room with an elephant. We will just fucking, yeah. So like at one point when I was out there, if my right arm was bleeding, I would just look left. I wouldn't fucking deal with it. Just I had this thing happen, and gave it absolutely no care, nothing, just insane. And that way, obviously, may think it has good results in a finite level, which could be questioned, but definitely it runs out. Yeah, it doesn't work. Yeah. So I saw that this idea that I was driven uh, and not the driver. And then I'm noticing everyone's going into meetings. It should be in a parking lot, really. And they're talking as if they were the driver, but they were the driven. Yeah. Something had occupied them and used them as a car would be used to express itself. And we keep having meetings of cars talking about themselves as the driver, like the stupid idea of self-driving cars. And they always have to put the little footnote, you may need supervision. There's no self-fucking driving car. So yeah, there was a driver, you were the car that was driven. Something took you over, just like spirit takes you over. So in AA, they make it a clear demarcation. You had an old employer or a lower power, and now you've been introduced to a higher power or a new employer. And now, because the obviousness in their eyes of you're the driven, you've never been the driver, you're never going to be the driver, you're the driven, something drives you. Yeah. And in this, there's so many different notes can be played, but in a dualistic way, especially in addiction, you can see it's either this or that. Yeah. So one lower employer, one higher employer, not 80. You don't have a giant record. It's just one thing was moving you, and now another thing is moving you. Yes. But you're always being moved. Yeah. 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 So, oh, then that led to Course of Miracles. Yeah. Because I was talking to people in an AA at a cafe in an AA way, and people in the other table came over to me and said, wow, that's the Course in Miracles. I said, what the hell are you talking about? He says, you should look at this book. What you're just saying is right out of this other book. And I go, what? And they asked me to come, and I went to a Course in Miracles thing. And so I got introduced to that. Wow. And it was, you outgrow something and then you have to find new shoes. Yeah. You find new ways of capturing how you feel or feel you are now. And the course was pretty good. I got involved in a cult really in the course for a while because in the spiritual practices, the spirituality, I got uninterested in most of it, but I thought demonstration was a sign, like Kundalini, Kriyas, there's got to be a sign of it. You can't just keep yapping. So, and in this Course in Miracle group, they were fucking wackadoodle great. Kundalini. I got up when I was taking the taxi to go to the airport to go to Wisconsin. The Kundalini happened. I thought the guy had a heater in his seat. He said, "What the fuck? It's super hot." And I get to this place and it's insane. People, you'd be in the room and there'd be woo, woo, woo. People go, wow, insane. But the funny thing is, they asked me to come there for a while in Wisconsin. And when I got there, people would walk by me and whisper, get out of here. I'm going, what? Like three different people did it. I was like, wait a minute. So whatever. So I get that. And then I heard non-duality. And it's music to my ears. It really, Yeah. In my book, non-duality is just, it's so sublime, truly. Because most things, you're going to try to affirm yourself into another condition. This is just, non-duality negates the condition you think you're in. That's all. It negates the ownership of her, the doership of her, the havership of it. Yeah. And you can travel lighter. Yeah. And then that lightness will stabilize, because principles outshine circumstances and situations. Yeah. And truths outshine circumstances and situations. And so non-duality sort of became the last answer. Yeah. Yeah. So far in this time. And it's pretty good to have the last answer is a pretty good answer, because it negates any need for any other answers. And that's and it's been had a lot of longevity. It's been 20 something, 30 years. And there's not one second, there was not one moment I'll buy a book about how to get into the moment, because I realize I can't be out of the moment. Why would I want to try to get in when I can't be out? And this is the thing. The broad view is, I was trying to get out of what I was not in, and I was trying to get into what I was not out of. Really, literally. As a theme of the action figure on the game board, that was basically it. Yeah. The boot was pointing the wrong way all the time. So when it say go 4 places and it could have been Boardwalk, it went this way to Park Place. That sucked. And then it bitched about everything. If I was just aligned, I would have ended up in Boardwalk probably. Yeah. But the boot was misdirected. So we say, hey, the horse is always before the cart. You may believe the cart is in front of the horse, but that is not true. It's never been moved, but it will feel like it's been moved when it gets changed. Yeah. But because most people see the horse in front of the cart, yeah, but they think the beginning and end is different. So they think the cart is the horse, yeah. And all you need to do is like whack the camera, and then you'll see it clearly. And that's the Zen bitch slap. Just give it a little whack on the head, and I may like it, but that's another problem. Whack it, and then you see the horses in front of the cart. Doesn't take much to stabilize, because it's the truth. Yes, you can't apply what we apply to. It's like when you're trying to apply spirituality to the body, you're going to have to apply it a lot. Yeah. Because it's like water and oil. It doesn't mix. So you got to keep trying to graft it on. But when you match something that's true, the bonding mechanism is built in. You don't do much. Yeah. It's just what you thought was two is seen as not. Yeah. There you go. And then just be completely in Novato, because you are. Yeah. So, okay. Any question here? In here? I got to get back to my rack making. No, we're going to have coffee, and please hang out. And dessert. Oh, yeah. This is Mia with the hat. It's her birthday last night.
What?
Mia's birthday. She's right there. No, we're not done yet. We're here. We got people.
Oh.
Everyone's just chomping at the bit to get to the cake and the coffee. All right. Anyone have any questions in the where we are? Judy. Chris Snap in Kentucky would like to say something, I think. So,
Hey, Paul.
hey.
So as you ran through that, I really appreciate you running through your history.
It's not true, remember. It's just an artistic embellishment of nothing. But I don't.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's what I was getting to, was that freedom. You just ran through. So I may
Mm,
have not caught the first, but I think it was selfing that was the first addiction, and then it was
yeah.
substances, and then it was AA, the beginning of recovery. Then it was Course in Miracles. Then it was non-duality. Um, and when you get there, when you got there, that freedom wasn't, to me. It's 100% responsibility. Um, that's where the freedom lies. Um, I'm not sure I'm hearing you say the same thing.
Well, I may have a different idea of responsibility and accountability. Yeah, I do not believe I was responsible for what happened, but here I'm accountable for it. Yeah.
Well, you chose it. You chose it. Your soul chose it, nonetheless, no matter when, right? For your experience here in this experience.
I don't know about that. I don't, I can't say yes or no about that.
Right.
I can't. All I can say is what I found was never lost. Yeah. Where I was brought to, I've always been, stuff like that. Those are the
Right.
things that have make sense to me. Yes.
Well, on that point, life is an experience where your soul remembers what it always knew.
Well, yeah, if you want to see it that way. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know about I don't think the appearance that we call life leads to other lives. I think this is I feel this is more like a movie. When we leave the theater, it's going to be forgotten in a second.
Yeah, but Paul, your energy, right? That's all it is. So your form energy is indestructible. And so you exist somehow and will always exist in that form of energy, whatever form it takes. That energy is you.
Yeah, I'd say let's say that's true, but what's appearing and being projected from that energy is a dreaming. Yeah. I don't believe that goes on eternally.
Dreaming because you're lost in this consciousness, this parade, this charade of existence, right?
Yes. I think there's just like if the only reason why you have an idea that there was something happening at night last night was because of the morning you woke up. If you never had a morning, that would have been reality for you, the dreaming that you were in. And now we're in the awake dreaming. Yeah. But I don't believe uh, the dreaming may be real, but the dream isn't. Yes. So the act of dreaming may be happening, but there as a dream, I don't believe it's real. And so uh, let's say being, that's real, but the being I don't believe is real. But this is just my opinions. Yeah. Doesn't matter. What
No, it matters tremendously, but that's the whole entire deal, because that being, that to be, is the question, right? To be or not to be. I mean, that's it.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Love you.
You get my head stirred up so I can go look through another window. It's good.
Anything to get out of selfing, Paul.
Anything. Uh, Selfing is an incredible uh, wealth of comedic entertainment. The
Well,
self,
it's the most powerful of addictions, no?
it can be, but when you're relieved of it, it's pretty funny because it it's a know-it-all that has a very defined, limited knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like to say that certainty is the bane of existence,
What
or
was that?
the bane of thoughtfulness. I'm sorry.
What is?
Certainty is the bane
Oh,
of
certainty.
thoughtfulness.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I just humbly, as an experience, I've experienced dying, yes, number of times. I experienced going into a stage called a coma, coming out, coming back here. And seemingly where I was and when I came back here were completely different. They didn't seem to have any connection whatsoever. That's my feeling of, yeah. And it's a very strong feeling, and it's been an undercurrent in my life since. Yeah, feel like there's a real. Uh, that's why I like the course with its emphasis on the act of dreaming. That you and I are the dreaming of the dreaming. That really that fits with me. Yeah, and I do not the dream. I do the dreaming is not whatever. Not even it could not even be close to a reality. Yeah. So uh, I live in a knowledge of my limited knowledge here as an action figure. Yeah. I live in the knowledge of a limited knowledge. It's totally fine with me. Yeah, yeah. But I really like when you show up and share and lets me go in and look in there. Yeah. It's not like it's not one right or wrong. It's all different limited ways of seeing something. But from what we're seeing from is the same. We're all seeing from the same point. And the artistic expression here is you can see from the same thing and see tons of different ways. It's fucking great. Yeah, it is. Yeah. This was just the way it got winnowed, like when you're whittling a a piece of wood, yeah? This is what happened in this life. I got whittled down, and then non-duality was the last stroke. And then that's what I'm going to be left with. You're going to be whittled in another way, maybe, and whatever. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the only way I can share. I share from recovery and non-duality because that's sort of how the whittling went. Yeah. And, introduced to Buddhism. I was introduced to a guru when I was young, and he was young, like 11 years old. And then what was interesting about that was I had never met any spiritual thing, yet when I did meet it, I had thousands of ideas about it. How I should and shouldn't be, how you shouldn't be. And how did I get this? It was like a vast file waiting to just download. And I met something and it just was terrible. And then I liked the situation, but he was very young and he wouldn't talk unless they bought him a stereo or something like that. It was really a weird situation. And and then when he showed up, I didn't meet him. I met his father. He was from a guru family. I didn't know there's guru families, and the franchise was continuing, and the father skipped over the oldest two brothers and then gave it to the youngest kid. I didn't know about this family of gurus, and it was like a business. And then so knowing well, they didn't send him right away. And they had an incredible practice called knowledge, and it was a very good meditating thing in Kriyas. And it would work. It worked. I mean, and that's what I went for. And then when the guru came, it all changed, and he was presented as the Lord of the universe. And I didn't like the Lord of the universe. And in my head, that made me no bueno, because who wouldn't like the Lord of the universe? So I got caught in the Clash song, Should I Stay or Should I Go? Because I wanted to leave, but I thought if I leave, I made it the worst mistake I could ever make in my life. And the only way I could leave was finally get loaded again. This was insane. So I was weaned off of that idea. And then the next time I came to out of the addiction, I looked into Buddhism, and I sort of I understood the concepts of dependent origination, all these things, emptiness. And then, all right, so on and so forth. I did put some time into that, but I realized a lot. The engine of seeking, when you come to some impasses where there's either an understanding is going to shift or something, usually what happens is the old understanding wins and you just try to do more. I'm going to do a longer retreat, more. And I realized that more is bogus. You know what I mean? You run into something and there may be an idea that it doesn't work, and then the head covers it over with more. If it would work if you do more. And I saw that as spiritual addiction, literally. And I just went, no way, Jose. Yeah. So that's what happened. And I think that's why it led me to the non-duality. Yeah. Yeah. So, like they say in the course, your greatest failures are your greatest successes. I see that. I see that I'm not going to get it. You could have two people say the same thing and mean completely different, which is the seeker yelling out, I'm never going to get it, is like they're super bummed. Yes. And then someone who has been relieved of the seeking, when they go, I'm never going to get it, it's like hallelujah, because they realize they are it. So they, as this, can never get it. And so, yeah, it's the same statement, but the emphasis is completely different. That's the point. Yeah. Non-duality, the emphasis is completely different. The emphasis is being ourselves reality, starting from there instead of trying to become something or unbecome something else to become something. It states a fact that there's a peace before you find peace. There's a peace of your inherent nature. When they go say, be still, that's not an order. When the master goes, be still, it's not an order. It's not stop moving your knees, or, be still means that's it. That's what we are. We are be still. Yeah, but when you hear it from here, it's another fucking order. How am I going to be still? I have a nervous tick or something. It goes crazy, and it constantly gets fit into the misunderstanding and just keeps on keeping on. Yeah, so yeah, I think one time you're gonna park your car, and it's never going to be moved again. You can park it. This is not this fucking eternal highway. You can park your car, and that certain things are going to be at an end. I have not looked for what I am for years. Yeah, haven't. Probably won't. I have been convinced, and shit has fallen out of the way. Yeah, which allows me to be in Novato, and it's nice because I'm in Novato, California, and so I'm completely here. Yeah. I haven't missed anything today here. Yeah. All right. Anyone else? Oh man. No? Okay, well, we
Hey
can say
Paul,
oh,
I
yeah.
got a question.
All right.
How's it going? All right.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just noticing, with your story, you and I, we followed a kind of similar kind of pattern, of Course in Miracles, of ending up in the Wisconsin cult for a little while. I went
Yeah.
to India to see Ramesh. I crossed paths with Neelam. Ended up
Yes.
going to Tiruvannamalai and Ramanashram, and then up to that Virupaksha cave and getting my mind blown away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
The cave is good, eh?
yeah.
Yeah.
And but I think that there's when I listen to you talk, I think I've had many similar recognitions or realizations along that journey. But there is something I think that you've understood that I haven't understood yet. So my question is about that. And and that's that I still believe somewhere that in order to be available for that higher truth, for that presence, to be of service in some way, I have to be at my best. That my condition as the kind of action figure matters. And I think, well, what I hear you saying is that you sort of understood that that outshines any condition.
Yes.
And that it doesn't matter, whether, you're a bit flipped out or whatever, you have a kind of trust and a faith that that can always come through regardless.
Yes.
And I
Well,
think I don't have that conviction yet. And I would like
well,
to
you
have it.
do, but your head's saying it doesn't think so. So
Yes.
just look at the head as the one that's holding that idea that you don't have that conviction. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Tell me
non-duality
more.
will bring out the misunderstandings, and then you check it out. You just said it there. You don't think that, you believe that your condition still has to be a certain way for the condition to be available. Yes?
Yeah. Yes.
You see it? You don't need to talk about it. Just look at that. It's sort of like something's putting itself before something that can't be put before. Yeah?
Yeah. You got it.
So in time, we're looking at a condition that came after is the determining factor of the condition that's before. It's obvious, eh? That's not true. Yeah?
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah, just sit with that. Just sit with it and just hear that, yeah, it's the head's wanting it to withhold itself once again. It's
Yeah.
tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, but once you hear it and then someone says something, you'll hear the tinniness of it. It doesn't have any, weight. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
once
mean,
again,
even
have to be.
yeah, even as you're saying it, I can feel a kind of discomfort in the head. The head's getting uncomfortable with
Yeah.
that
Yes, it's
with that
being
idea.
yes, it's
Yeah.
being noticed. Yes.
Yeah.
It was obvious. I had it with given the talks in recovery when I was young. I had a commitment to go in front of a lot of people to share about an important step in the big book of AA, the working step, the fourth step. And a lot of times I knew I was not equipped to do any of it. Yeah. Yet I showed up for the commitment and stuff would come through. And then I realized that I thought what was coming through seemed incredible. So I thought I got to get better to keep it coming through, Suddenly the reliance shifted from it to me once again, which is what the head wants to do. Yeah. And so the idea is, all right, I've got to start meditating. I've got this pure light coming through and I'm a fucking selfish motherfucker or something. So I'm going to try to work on it. And then I realized, no. From the eye of the inherent condition, your condition doesn't matter. Does not matter. Yes? Zilch.
Yeah.
Complete, absolute irrelevance. If you trust, you have shown up, Graham. You're here. So you don't have to show up. You're showing up. Most of us are showing up already. It's not like, oh, I'm going to you're showing up. You woke up, you went horizontal, you're now vertical, you're showing up. You're not, I'm going to show up. No, you showed up. You have done all that you can do, and then things will happen. Yeah. Yeah. And go back and listen to this little bit and then just hear it again, Graham. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Thank
Doesn't
you.
it sound like domino number 4 wants to get before domino number 1 and says dominoes number 1, even though it's super great, it's still determined by the condition of domino number 4? Don't you see it? Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds just like that.
Yeah, there you go. It's the head. Nothing to change. You don't change it. It presents its case and you just look at it. You're aware. And then your head goes like a German Shepherd. What? You want to tell me, though you will concede that domino one is all powerful, but it's domino number four can block itself, it off from something? That would imply in actuality, domino number four is more powerful than domino number one. I beg to differ. That's all. Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
It's back to the cart. It's back to the cart and the horse again. Getting them the
exactly.
wrong way round. Yeah.
And you don't want to, you just pointed it out. You don't want to try to move the head to get it. It's waste of time. Yeah. And it doesn't need to be changed because it's not you, Graham. Yeah.
Yeah.
This,
Got it.
this, remember when you used to see shit and then there was a demand, you've got to do something about it. This case, there's no demand to do anything about it. The reliance is on the awareness of it. And then you'll see where it takes you. You don't immediately come with your own preconceived agenda to change it. The seeing of it is not the clarion call for change. It's just awareness, just dog shit awareness. You're aware of it. And then if after a while, if you're meant to be moved and have something happen with that, you'll be moved. If you're not, you're not. Yes. But the
Yeah.
head, of course, immediately, it always takes every bit of seeing as a call to action to do something.
Yeah.
This isn't a call to action.
Oh,
Yeah. It's just noticing. And then noticing that domino number four is at domino number four, and domino number one is domino number one. Yeah. And domino's number one condition is going to outshine domino number four's condition because in this gala of time, it's before. And domino number one is after. Yeah. And the before influences the after, but the after doesn't influence the before. Yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very. And just, and then it will masquerade and come up with the same fucking story in a different way. And just, you don't even have to bat it down. You're like the Course would say, you're invulnerable to the attack thoughts. So you're invulnerable to the mosquitoes. So when you notice the mosquitoes, it doesn't drive you to kill the mosquito because you're untouched. You're not able to be touched by the mosquitoes. Yes?
Yes.
So you just see it. And then if you're meant to do something, you will. If you're not, you're not, because it's not you inherently. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I
Yes.
think
Thank
we're
you.
going to leave on that note. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Paul, Rob has his hand up, Rob Helmer.
Oh, I guess we're not going to leave. No. All right. Come on in, Rob.
All right, Paul. You sure?
I'm never sure, but let's go. Let's go for it.
All right. I had seems like old times. I used to try to give you questions to keep you around long enough. Anyways, I have a few things that kind of arose regarding acceptance. A couple of quotes that kind of shook me up kind of in a good way, and I'd like to hear your take or riff on them. The first one was full acceptance equals willing to accept something forever. And I used to find my mind, I'm like, oh, I can accept that, but my mind would trick me. I'll accept it for now, like, but not fully accept it. So yeah, just your take on that first one, then maybe I'll give you the other one.
I'm
So-
not going. I'm not interested in that.
Okay.
You
Then
have to, what I'd like to see, is there like a percentage of what is it, accepting and then fully accepting, and who's going to be judge of that fucking thermometer?
yeah, I just noticed that I was
And then forever. And if you don't, yeah, right now, where it's only happening now, I can say, yeah, I fucking accept forever.
yeah.
Now, in forever, I probably won't, but I'll say it right now. Yeah, I've accepted it forever. Thank God I don't have to. Just right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. But I think acceptance is more than the brain, though. I think in my experience, It's- but the
But from the brain is time.
yeah,
Time is from the brain.
yeah,
So which is it? If it's not acceptance of something else, then why is it stated as forever?
yeah. The other one was accepting God's will or the present moment as if I've chosen it. So there would be this thing with acceptance about I accept it, but then it's like kind of living life from instead of accepting it in a very passive way as I'm accepting this moment as it is versus accept it as if I've chosen it. And that really kind of shook my brain in a good way.
Acceptance, the way you're saying it, sounds like there's a choice. Acceptance is a condition. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a choice.
When
That's
I'm
the whole
accepting
thing.
something, I don't like if, obviously, if the temperature in your room is good, there'll be acceptance of that, and you won't be concerned about the temperature of the room. Yeah. Yeah, that to me, acceptance is a condition. It's not something you choose or anything. It's
Yeah,
a
that's
condition that you're in that you're accepting. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm feeling too. It's a condition, it's not a thought. Like I have to say it in words because I'm trying to convey something. But I think you answered my question in the sense that it's a condition. It just is. Is that correct?
Yes, and then the head can play a role that it's accepting or not accepting. Yes, but acceptance is a condition. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for that. And it's what you're describing is my experience. It's not a thought because I've accepted things in my head, but not
If there's a thought of acceptance, you're not in a state of acceptance.
thank you.
Most people, we have this in AA. There's very familiar topics, and a lot of it is acceptance because everyone's in non-acceptance. So they have the topic, another meeting about acceptance because they don't believe they're accepting. This is what happens. In acceptance, you wouldn't ever bring that as a topic. Yeah, yeah. It's yes, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's exactly you answered my question exactly. I've
Uh,
heard a lot about acceptance and this and that, but then when I heard that quote, it did something to me that was different than a thought of acceptance. There was something else that kind of came through and you reflected that back right now. So thank you.
oh, great. Is that it? Great. Yeah. I would love when I was borrowing money and I would say, accept that you're going to see this money before forever. All right, brother. See you. Anyone else? No. We're going to start saying goodbye. I'm had a very lively time. Yeah. Yeah. Jamie and Barbara, so nice to see you all. Uh, Al Gerdas. Hello, Al. Axel, our man in Germany. Marcus. Oh, Angelica. Mary Champagne. Zoom user. Sounds like that old song. Zoom user.
I got to figure out how to get my name in there.
Dreamweaver.
It's
Zoom user.
Joe.
That's good. Dreamweaver. James Parker. Nice to see you, James. And thank everyone who donates their time or anything. Very much appreciated. Let's see. We got Chris H. We heard from Chris H. A couple weeks ago. Marl, as always. Yeah.
Paul,
Snap. Thank you.
I just wanted to tell you, because of what you said at the beginning of the talk, I'm local and I don't have a car right now, or I would be there every single.
We're gonna pick you up, honey. We're gonna pick you up one
I'm
day.
pretty far away. I mean, but anyway, I'm working on it. But I would be there. I would be there. It's not like I'm not coming. It's that I'm.
We may decide to take a trip and get you. Where are you?
Let me know. Say it again.
Where are you?
I'm in Oakland. I'm in East Oakland.
Oakland. We have someone that comes from Alameda. We'll get you a ride.
Are you?
Yes.
Oh my God.
We just, all you got to do, hold on. How am I going to get it to her? Because I'm going to space out now. Just call me up, Maro. Yeah. You have
All
my
right,
phone
I'll
number?
figure it out. I'll figure it out. That would be so great. Okay.
Oh, yeah. We're a friend of ours, Chris, comes from Alameda.
Okay.
Maybe somebody can give Zoe a ride.
Zoe? Oh, and from Japan. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We got, we got Susan Harris. Nice to see you, Susan. Graham's I just have a great feeling around Graham. It was so nice to see him in London that time and all that. Yeah. John K. Judy Lovins, great job, honey. Yes. Kenneth. Stephen Mack. We got Iwan. I hope I got brioche. Brioche? Close. That's good. Dennis. Annette. Roman Mueller. Nice to see you. Mr. John from Florida. Keith G. We miss Keith today. Lola misses you, Keith. She's running around crazy here.
I miss her too.
Yeah. Let's
Be
see.
back soon enough.
Zoe Banks. Yeah. If I could drive over water, honey, I'd pick you up. I would. Yeah. Ben, nice to see you. My friend Rob. Anja. And Dhruv. Nice to see Dhruv. Always a pleasure. Annette. Hey, thank you, everyone. Oh, Kenneth from Vancouver. Nice to see Kenneth and Stephen Mack. And I think I got everyone. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day for the rest of the day, Ken. Adios.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Oh, you're
Paul.
welcome.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Paul.
Judy.
Everybody.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.